Start us off, Tom.
Me? Oh no, I wasn't ready for this. Hi, everybody. I don't run this show. um, this is CastPod ranks. We're doing Godzilla monsters. Hey, my favorite genre. So my gracious host Kevin and Callum invited me on to help rank all the monsters. If you haven't seen the first two parts, check those out. So we're in the middle of ranking Manda, which is a giant sea serpent monster guy who doesn't really have any attacks. He just kind of wraps around stuff. So what do you guys think about this guy?
What kind of raps does he do?
Vegan and vegetarian. He doesn't do anything with meat.
No M&M?
No.
I was gonna put him up here because he's the rap god.
He spits mad bars.
I believe it. I mean, I like big snakes for sure.
Yes.
Quote me on that. I'm thinking we put Manda here in the monarch tier. I think he's slightly above your average large animal, although, according to what Tom said, doesn't really do much, which is disappointing.
But I feel like he could do stuff if he was given the chance, you know?
Probably.
Like he could strangle something.
I'm sure he could beat most of the ones down here, especially this one.
Oh yeah.
We've moved on to the next and the best character of them all.
This is Mechagodzilla 1. So, again, if you're tuning in, we already did Mechagodzilla 3. This is Mechagodzilla 1. Mechagodzilla 1 is the only alien Mechagodzilla. So he is from, I believe, the Kelox alien race. So in the movie, Mechagodzilla comes down. There are two movies of Mechagodzilla. The first is Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, and the next is Terror of Mechagodzilla. In the first movie, Godzilla is shown to be destroying the city after people had assumed he was a good guy for a while. He is shown to be breaking Anguirus' jaw when Anguirus thinks he's his friend. And then it's revealed that there's another Godzilla, and the other Godzilla shows up, and he's like, "Why are you?" And he's like, he starts fighting him, and then the original Godzilla that broke Anguirus' mouth shoots yellow lightning from his mouth, and then it's revealed that it was a skin suit, and it was a Mechagodzilla. And Godzilla blows the suit off, and then we get Mechagodzilla. Mechagodzilla is one of the most complicated monsters in the Showa era. He has a lot of weapons. Finger missiles, laser eyes, lasers from his mouth, I believe. He can detach his own head. He can fly. He can spin his head around in a circle like an owl, like super fast, and create a distortion shield where you cannot penetrate it with any sort of projectile. Yes, it's very weird. He can fight without his head. He has I think he has rockets on his back. And he's weak to magnetism, as he is eventually beaten because Godzilla turns into a magnet and absorbs electrical energy to stop Mechagodzilla from flying away from him. He was able to take on both Godzilla and King Caesar at the same time by having his arms pointing at King Caesar and his head 180 degrees pointing at Godzilla. So that was a pretty cool fight. Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. And he's made of space metal.
Big fan.
So my question is, because Callum and I get to each ask Tom one question about the monster we're going over.
Yes.
Does he ever detach his head, and then you said his body can fight without his head? So his head's just yelling, "Hey, I'm over here." You know, like they do in cartoons.
Like the classic cartoon, yeah.
It was more
here, to your left, no, my left.
It was more that his head got blown off. Less that he can fight without his head. It doesn't. I should have clarified that. He doesn't like take his head off. He doesn't like do this and be like, haha. Like it got destroyed. It got destroyed by Godzilla, and he was still able to fight. He was still able to fight for a short period after his head was blown off.
Like a chicken.
Exactly. But a chicken with lasers and rockets.
Best kind of chicken.
Robot Chicken?
This is also one of the movies where they use a lot of pyrotechnics, and in a lot of those old movies, they just made the suit actors like they had takes where the suit actors were actually getting hit by the fireworks, and they just kept them in because they looked good.
Yeah.
So a lot of injuries on those sets. Be wary.
Power Ranger style. I
OSHA
like
was
it.
not a fan.
What do you think is the strongest version of Mechagodzilla?
If I had to guess, probably, and this is again, we may be spoilers for all these movies.
Yes.
You wanted to go back and
Wow, I really
watch them,
appreciate that
but
person.
also spoilers for the newer movies.
Yeah.
What was that?
I
You
said
froze
yeah.
for a second there after I said
Oh, I'm
that.
back. Sorry,
About
my
the
Discord got for a second.
Oh.
I'm like, wow, I really offended him.
I mean, hey, you don't know. Well, I mean, you know, I don't want to explicitly say it, but you've already heard the spoiler version. So the Mechagodzilla in Godzilla vs. Kong is probably, well, it's tough because he's the biggest.
But
I would say that
strong?
this is the most malicious Mechagodzilla.
Okay.
But the strongest was probably Kiryu, just because of the absolute zero cannon.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Very cool thing.
Mechagodzilla 2 is a close second. We're going to get to him next. He's also very powerful, but this Mechagodzilla was powerful for the time.
Okay.
So, yeah, I would say that.
So
Hmm.
here's a question. It's going to be more directed towards Cal.
Sure.
We got Mechagodzilla 3 with the absolute zero cannon. That's pretty cool. But he's made out of human metal.
Mm.
Mechagodzilla 1, who's made out of space metal. But he doesn't have an absolute zero cannon. So does that balance out? Or make him a Kaiser tier? Does space metal, because that's pretty cool, space metal. And he wore a skin suit. And really faked being Godzilla. Does that put him up to God tier? But
See,
also less weapons. Less malicious.
I want to put him at the top because he's my favorite, but also because, like, you know, it's more of like its own entity, right? It's not being controlled by people. It's
Well,
clearly,
it's being controlled by aliens,
right? Yeah,
Yeah, but not humans.
not humans.
Yeah. And
No, they are aliens.
already are just better, you know.
It's true.
It's like hardcore, you know. It starts off by just beating up poor old Anguirus here.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's all sneaky, being disguised, and it's like, haha. And it puts up a crazy fight, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It's a really cool fight.
So,
Like, although I think arguably, like you said, Kiryu here is like, you know, has better weaponry and everything. In my mind, I think like the character as a whole is like Mechagodzilla 1 is just like top tier.
I think
I would agree.
to that.
He was definitely probably the most powerful fight in the show era.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I mean, like, there's Ghidorah, I guess, but like, yeah, I would say Mechagodzilla did the most damage because he like essentially 2v1'd before anybody else.
Yeah, I like that. And then also, if we, you know,
space metal, and then just put him in the God tier.
there should be a space metal tier.
that honestly, we might have to add that.
It would only have him in it.
But we're missing one of our Mechagodzillas here, right? As our next one.
All right, this is Mechagodzilla 2, or Super Mechagodzilla 2. This Mechagodzilla was created by humanity to fight the Heisei version of Godzilla. He has maser cannons. He has rocket salvos from his fingertips and from his back. He has a jetpack kind of attachment, which comes with two shoulder-mounted maser cannons. And he has a kind of two like taser things that are targeted to target two brains that Godzilla has. So Godzilla has two brains, one in his head and one in between his body and his tail in this era.
Like
and by is that true? I don't know.
It's true. That's why like some male praying mantises, after they get their head bitten off, they still like kind of hang out for a while because they have like a lesser brain in the base of them.
Right. So in the movie, Mechagodzilla is designed to destroy those brains to kill Godzilla, and he actually does. He does actually do that. Of course, Godzilla is then revived by other processes in the movie, mainly a dead pterodactyl on top of him. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. Close. That would be a good guess given the history, but this is one of the weird ones. This Mechagodzilla is the tallest. Excluding the legendary Mechagodzilla, because I'm not exactly sure what the height comparison there is. But almost all the Heisei creatures are much taller than their Showa and Millennium counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
So he is by far the tallest. Again, like all Mechagodzillas, he can fly. And yeah, he's also piloted by a human, but he's piloted remotely from the spaceship that becomes the jetpack attachment.
Ooh.
Yes. So Super Mechagodzilla 2 is very powerful, but regular Mechagodzilla 2 is still powerful, but not super powerful. And I think he has freeze cannons? No, he doesn't have freeze cannons. That's Mechagodzilla
3. My question is, what's like the main thing that sets apart Mechagodzilla 2 from 1, 3, and I guess 4? Like, what's its like defining thing?
I would probably say it's designed specifically to incapacitate Godzilla.
Gotcha. It's like a killing machine.
Every other. I mean, Kiryu is designed to do that as well, but it's not. There's not explicit. Like the Absolute Zero Cannon would kill anything, but like this monster, this Mechagodzilla is specifically designed with weaponry and tactics to disable Godzilla and kill him. So I would say that's the defining feature.
That's pretty metal.
Yeah, what is it? Space metal.
It's not space metal.
It's not space metal.
What do you think, Kevin?
I'm not liking it as much as I like the other two.
I
think the other two are cooler. Like
literally from Mechagodzilla 3.
Yeah, Mechagodzilla 3. Absolute Zero Cannon. Honestly, one of the coolest weapons I've heard of today.
Literally, once again, nice.
And then you've got Mechagodzilla 1, made with space metal.
That's all you have to say.
That's it. That's all you need. So, you got a man-metal Mechagodzilla. No Absolute Zero Cannon. So he's down a couple of pegs for me. He's like a king.
What do you think?
I would agree with King. I think he's more powerful. I think he's too powerful to be in Monarch, but I think design-wise and kind of he's definitely lower in kind of appeal than both Mechagodzilla 3 and 1.
Does he have space metal and an Absolute Zero Cannon?
Yeah, exactly. Like if we're doing that, then yeah. How dare you disrespect Gorosaurus like this? You can't take this slander. You thought you'd get away with that, didn't you? Okay, moving on. So this is Megaguirus. So Megaguirus is a giant dragonfly wasp kind of creature.
You're selling good. I'm already on board with this.
So Megaguirus is the result of a black hole cannon that was being tested to use in the Millennium form of Godzilla, and a regular dragonfly flying through it and becoming distorted by the radiation.
Amazing.
It became a swarm of Meganulon, which is actually a reference to similar kind of isopod-like creatures in the original Rodan movie in 1956, which were like about human size. But in Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, these Meganulons attach themselves to buildings and become stagnant, like in their metamorphosis, and then they kind of emerge as these like mini Megaguiruses, and they all combine to form the big Megaguirus. Megaguirus is a very interesting one anatomically because it has a sort of scorpion tail that can stab another monster and suck its energy and then use its own beam attacks against it.
Whoa,
So it could use like Godzilla's fire breath out of its tail if it wanted to.
that's pretty neat.
It is insanely fast.
Mm.
I can't remember what the exact Mach speed that Rodan can go, because Rodan might be slightly faster, but this thing can easily break Mach 3. It is insanely fast. It doesn't have any beam attacks of its own. It has sharp claws. A lot of its attacks evolve around like flying at supersonic speeds at its opponent and like just like hitting it really hard. But yeah, it can obviously fly. Yeah, that's kind of it for Megaguirus. It only appears in one movie. Pretty interesting design, and yeah, that's kind of all I have about him.
Alright, so let me get this straight.
Yes.
You have a dragonfly that flies through a black hole gun and becomes basically a small group of isopod dragonfly things
that are about human.
That wishy-washy together to make a big one that has a stinger that can absorb attacks or steal attacks and then shoot them back out.
Yes, in the movie he steals Godzilla's energy, and I believe he fires his own beam against him.
Okay, so my question is, why would we put this any lower than God tier?
Well, that's the thing. It's extremely weak.
Okay.
So Godzilla actually body slams this thing. So Godzilla jumps off a building and squashes him, which is pretty funny. So this is kind of like a glass cannon kind of situation here. And of course, while it can absorb the energy that the creature was going to use, it's not going to amplify it at all. So it can only use it to the extent that it has the ability to. So it's like a finite source.
Gotcha.
So wait, like, say you were using your big old Tom laser beam. That was and you were using it at level 10. And I was Dragonfly, Black Hole, Monster, Demon thing. I would absorb it, and would I only be able to shoot it at level 10, or would I be able to shoot it at like level 2, the Kevin level?
That I'm not sure about. In the movies and in other media, including Megaguirus, it seems like it's about similar strength.
Okay.
It's not like super weak, but at the same time, it never exceeds the original output. So
like if you were shooting at a 10, I might get like an 8, 9, maybe 10, but I'm not.
Right. It's never going to go above 10, but it's also not like piss poor. Yeah. So that's Megaguirus.
All right. My statement is that I think that should be a god.
You think it really deserves God? It does sound cool, but
I personally don't think it deserves God, but that's just me.
The glass cannon.
I think it might be king.
To Kaiser, but
I'd be okay with like low Kaiser. I think.
Yeah, with that.
Just because it has versatility. I love how Callum's just rearranging them to his own liking while we're in between monsters.
I'm not gonna argue with the man.
Just making it, accurate, obviously.
Hold on.
So on to the next one. Let's
move
what's
that back
his
a little bit. Do you really think Mechagodzilla 1 is stronger than Boulder?
I keep forgetting about Boulder Snorf. Every time you say it, I'm like, who? Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is Megalon. So Megalon is a giant cockroach. He's only appeared in one movie, Godzilla vs. Megalon. He is a creature of an underground civilization. In the movie, these underground people can actually communicate with the aliens who control Gigan for some reason. So Gigan is also, this is a tag team movie. This is the movie where Jet Jaguar comes in. So it's Jet Jaguar and Godzilla versus Megalon and Gigan. Megalon has drills for hands, can fly.
Okay, I'll finish it because Tom left. He can fly. He can speak bug.
There has to be
speak bug.
There has to be a Discord crash every part. Is that just
I think it's required.
No. All right, I'm back.
I can't take
Hello, Megalon.
Yes.
Megalon can fly. He has drills for hands. He can drill underground. and he has a short-range electric kind of beam from the top of his horn. He can fly pretty fast, but not like super fast. That's kind of it. Megalon, he really gets carried by Gigan, I feel, in the movie. So,
I was gonna say,
because like Gigan is so OP that like Megalon helps, but like not much,
Yeah.
He has a cool like kind of mouth, and he has a cool cry. But that's kind of it for our boy Megalon.
How is he defeated?
He is defeated by flying tail dropkick by Godzilla.
Nice.
And then I think he retreats. I don't think he's ever killed. I think he like retreats into the cavern where they called him from, and then like the cavern crumbles and crushes everything.
So he never
I
comes
think that's
back.
what happened. No, never.
Wow. Even in those big team up movies.
Nope. No, not in Final Wars, not in Destroy All Monsters, nothing. It's the one and done. It was also historically one of the worst Godzilla movies ever made.
Oof.
Not in quality, just in like story and kind of
Poor Gigan.
campiness. Godzilla vs. Gigan was the other one. Godzilla vs. Gigan is very like they have a lot of reused stock footage. There's a scene where they have a Gigan and a Ghidorah toy, and they spin them around like this to make them look like they're doing a loop-de-loop in the air as they come down for Godzilla. It's so obvious. It's so funny.
Wow. I love it.
Yes, if you're ever looking for a good laugh, Godzilla vs. Megalon is classic. It was also featured on Mystery Science Theater 3000 because it was the campiest Godzilla movie.
Hey.
So, how strong is its electricity blast? Because you didn't make it seem like it was very strong.
I mean, it's strong. I would say it's probably about Gigan, like Showa-era Gigan strength. The issue is that it's short range. So...
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's powerful. The reason he has an electricity attack is because they reused stock footage of Ghidorah's attack on the city from Invasion of Astro Monster in that movie.
Nice.
So they had to give Megalon an electricity attack to compensate for that.
Nice.
Yes. Did you already put him up here and I'm not noticing? There he is.
Maybe.
That seems fair.
Yeah, that sounds about accurate.
What do you guys think?
I feel like it's probably in Monarch.
Yeah.
I agree. I was going to say the same thing. I'd say he's probably low Monarch.
The only reason that keeps it out of not very cash money for me is the drill hands. I think that
it does have the drill hands are cool, and he is a very good burrower.
And electricity is like it's better than literal octopus, you know.
He's also like quite defensive, if that makes sense. Like he's defensive from like Godzilla's heat rays and stuff. Like he doesn't block them, but like it's obvious that they're not doing as much damage as they would if he was doing it on like Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can move on. Let's just skip this one.
What do we have to say about this one?
Oh God, we'll have to.
Already have my question.
This is Manila or Milla, depending on what movie it's from. This is the son of Godzilla. He's basically useless. He can do little smoke rings of atomic breath. This is important. This is a different baby Godzilla from the baby Godzilla we already ranked. That one up there in Kaiser. That one is a better baby Godzilla because he's useful and he's cuter. In Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, has the cutest baby Godzilla. And he actually looks like a Godzilla. This thing looks like a turd with eyes. He is. Yeah, he's very goofy. He's very like frumpy. He's like he makes these weird noises like he has, like I said, smoke rings that he can like shoot, and they like wrap around like somebody's neck and destroy all monsters. He does that to Ghidorah, and like one of Ghidorah's heads like faints, but it's already after Ghidorah's been like essentially beaten to death by Godzilla and Gorosaurus. He has been shown to use atomic breath once in Son of Godzilla when Godzilla steps on his tail to try and teach him how to use his atomic breath. But as we know, Son of Godzilla is a fever dream of a child, so none of that actually happens. Yes, the fan fiction film. He can talk in that film as well, which is super weird. The only other redeeming quality I can think of is in Final Wars. He's the reason that Godzilla does not kill the humans that helped him defeat Kaiser Ghidorah. Because he like made friends with some old man and some kid like in the forest when all the monsters were being released on the world by the aliens because he was like uncorrupted or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of it for our little turd here. I am not a fan, as you can tell. I think
Kevin,
this is an abomination, but you can ask your questions.
Kevin has a question.
So, at what point did the Walt Disney Company find out that they stole one of the animatronics from Splash Mountain?
Doesn't it really? Seriously? Like, honestly?
Like, how big is that lawsuit, Kevin?
There's been lawsuits in Godzilla history, but not one like that.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why is this your favorite character?
Say one nice
Yes. What's the best thing about this character?
The thing about this character is that I think the only, aside from Titanosaurus, because I've never been able to find a figure of that, this is the only Godzilla figure I don't have by choice. I think everything else aside from Titanosaurus and Gabra, because they're very hard to find, I have a figure of.
But the figures do exist.
Yes, I have a miniature version because it came with a set, but like the full on like vinyl ones, like the 8-inch ones. No, probably in Japan at some point. But yes, I would highly recommend that we put this in not very cash money, or even if it's a tier below that, such as leaving it in a Stinky after we move his father out of there.
Stinky, he goes
because he looks stinky.
Yeah, I think that is an appropriate position.
It's very fair.
I'm glad we agree on that. Okay.
All right, who's next?
Moving right along.
Drill face.
This is Mogira. So Mogira is another android, another robot designed by the Earth Defense Force. He appears in Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. He is a space traveling robot, so he is capable of leaving atmosphere and flying into space. He's originally sent to investigate a crystal anomaly coming towards the Earth, a crystal meteor, which turns out to be Space Godzilla. He has rotor feet, so he doesn't move his legs. His feet have treads on them, so he can like slide around really quickly. He has kind of a repeater as laser eyes, so it like kind of like goes like almost like an old school like laser gun you would see in Star Trek, like these little like bars of light kind of. So it's kind of like a light cannon from his eyes. He also has drill hands that can open into grappling hooks, I believe.
Ooh.
He's not very mobile aside from his feet, but he can fly. His face does have a drill, as we can see, which I believe also can open and fire a similar photon cannon to the eyes. He is known to power down and charge up his power. So his power is based on like rechargeable energy, I guess. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. He's also able to fire his beam while moving, which is something to note. Due to his rotary legs, so he can like slide around and shoot. But yeah, not much to say about this guy. Kind of like a B tier kind of Mechagodzilla. But yeah, he's definitely a side character, but he's interesting.
If you
Kevin,
could add one extra like characteristic, like because he's got grappling claws and the treads. If you could add one characteristic to this monster robot, what would it be?
Probably movable arms, because as his design is now, his arms are kind of fused to his sides, so he like rotates like this. Okay. So I think if he go ahead.
Space metal.
I mean, technically, he was made of metal and he wasn't space.
But is he made from space metal?
No.
Yeah, that was the answer I was expecting Kevin was looking for.
No.
Really?
Oh, it was just a serious question.
Wow, that was a
I'm
good
shocked.
question. I was like, he's definitely leading up to saying, no, he should be made of space metal. Stinky tier.
Yes, I feel like if he had movable arms, that he could probably do some more damage with his little drill. He has drill hands as well, so I feel like even without opening his hands for like his other guns, like I feel like he could benefit from that.
Yeah.
I believe also the grappling hooks have like the shocky effect that Mechagodzilla 2 had, though not as like
Oh, that's cool.
dangerous, not as like piercing as Mechagodzilla 2.
I feel like he's cool, but I feel like he's like more of a multi-tool robot, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was originally designed as a mining robot for like space materials.
Definitely not
Not
Jet
made of space
Jaguar.
metal.
He can.
not
Oh,
made
that's
of space metal.
he can burrow. That's something to note. He can burrow underground.
Got ourselves. So it's basically Megalon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Should we put him in king class? Cause
God tier.
yes, absolutely. You have the tire treads.
I don't. He might make it into king tier, or it might be like a high monarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure because like
The above.
he should definitely be above Megalon.
Yeah.
I feel like he should be above Baragon, but I don't know if he's above should be above Gorosaurus as well. But
Yeah.
Gorosaurus has that kind of like primal factor, you know?
Yeah.
The agility. I don't know.
I'd be fine with putting him at the top of Monarch.
Okay, let's do that then.
Can we do
like
CastPod ranks of different types of metal?
Space metal,
yeah, we already
everything.
know what it's gonna be. Yeah.
Space metal, everything else.
What's the point of that?
Who's next?
Okay.
What is
this?
Demon?
This is Monster X. So I know in a previous part we discussed Kaiser Ghidorah's previous form, Monster X. This is him. Yes. So if you notice his design, he has one main head and two half heads, and those are the two half heads of Ghidorah. So he is a bipedal, almost dragon-like warrior kind of design. He has claws and hands, but he's very humanoid in the way he moves. He has concussive eye beams, so the eye beams shoot out of all four eyes that he has, the two on his main head and the two on the sides. And they will go in like a squiggly line and then explode in front of him. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. He's extremely agile. And of course we know that when he realizes he's not going to win a fight, he can transform into Kaiser Ghidorah by going down on all fours and having wings sprout from his back, and then the three heads sprout up. He came from a meteor called on by the enemy Kaiser of the Exilians in Godzilla Final Wars, and was designed to be the end-all for Earth. The meteor was supposed to destroy Earth. But Godzilla decided to 1v1 the meteor and shoot it with his atomic breath from Earth while it was still in orbit and blow it up before it hit the ground, which is why Monster X came out. Monster X can float. He has telekinetic powers, and he has, similar to Ghidorah, two tails that can have whip-like properties.
That's pretty crazy.
He's nuts. I actually dressed up for him as Halloween one year.
God.
That's even better. Yeah. God.
I probably have the paper mache head still here.
God tier if it's Tom wearing the costume.
He is powerful.
Yeah.
It might be. I might put him in Kaiser, but I guess before we get to that, we should ask questions if you guys have them.
Yes. So this is like his base form, and then his like full form is the Kaiser Ghidorah.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was my question too. We both had legitimate questions.
Yeah.
So I think if his final form is Kaiser Ghidorah, he can't be on the same level as Kaiser Ghidorah.
I would say he's probably the top of Kaiser because he's very powerful.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Like he was the only one to even put up a fight against the Godzilla in Final Wars, which is a very strong version of Godzilla.
Yeah, and then he can go Super Saiyan
Mm-hmm.
and just like
Yeah, pretty much.
become
Everything.
one of the coolest things. So yeah, I think that's pretty easy placement for that one.
Yeah, I would say so.
But
Okay.
now we get to one of the most famous.
This is Mothra, the Queen of the Monsters. Probably the most famous monster outside of Godzilla and King Kong. Mothra was extremely successful in her debut movie in 1955 and was one of the first crossovers from two Toho franchises in Mothra versus Godzilla. Um, she has two forms, her larva form and her adult form, which we see here. Her larva form are basically caterpillars that come from eggs, and then she hatches into this beautiful butterfly. She is from Infant Island, where she has a group of fairies that worship her and can help her protect the world. She is
Classic.
probably the most lawful good of all the monsters. She is always out to protect humans, always out to protect the world. She has different attacks, including but not limited to supersonic flight, eye beams, antenna beams, scale shot from her thorax. Her larval form can shoot kind of silk to entangle enemies. The larval forms can also swim. She can fly in space. She also, in the Rebirth of Mothra series, has multiple forms, including Mothra in the Rebirth of Mothra 2. She turns into kind of a metal version of Mothra, which has extreme defense and attack capabilities. And in Rebirth of Mothra 3, she turns into like a kind of into Rainbow Mothra, which is a more powerful version of Mothra in most every way. She can reflect light off of her wings. She can create kind of zones of light with her flight. In Godzilla vs. Mothra from 1992, she creates a halo of light in the sky above Batra and Godzilla's bodies to kind of seal them underwater. And yeah, she resides on Infinite Island, and every time she's in a movie, she almost always dies, but is resurrected similar to a phoenix in the form of always having an egg that has been laid.
Well, there some she does with like the scales of her wings.
Yeah, so she can reflect stuff with her scales, and she can also, that's another important part, she can transfer her life energy. So in a lot of the movies, when she dies, she transfers her life energy to another creature. So like in the most recent Godzilla King of the Monsters, she transferred her energy to Godzilla when she was killed by Ghidorah. Just one example of many. Yes.
What do you think about
If she's
this,
called
Kevin?
Queen of the Monsters, does that mean her and Godzilla bump uglies?
That I don't think so. I think it's more of a platonic king-queen relationship, but
we're on Earth.
we are in our, yeah. I mean, I would. They definitely started as enemies, but they've actually been enemies more times than allies, I think. But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe maybe they bump uglies, to use your phrasing. And then I guess we should remember to talk about Batra after this, but I guess we should rank Mothra first. So, I mean, I think Mothra has an insane reputation. I think she's not always the most powerful, but she's definitely a really good support monster. I would say King, but that's my take.
Yeah. She's better than average.
Because I feel like she's better than everything in Monarch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's definitely better than Baragon and Mogira.
Yeah. I will say, hot take, I'm not a fan of Mothra.
That's fair.
Like, just in general, like, I know it's a classic, super famous, but it's like...
The giant moth.
Yeah, big moth. I don't know. But, yeah, I do understand very strong and recurring character. Super famous, so... I don't know.
I'd say King. I agree with Tom.
King. Like, yeah.
I would say closer to the
Yeah, like maybe between Jaguar and King Kong or something.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Cool.
Yeah.
And now we should talk about Batra, because Batra is not on this list,
Oh,
but
true.
Batra is basically a bad version of Mothra. So
Raise it a tier.
Batra starts off similar to Mothra in a larval form, and it looks more like a horned caterpillar. It's a lot larger than Mothra's larva and has like a kind of upright positioning. So it starts off small and then it goes like this. It has the same cry as Rodan, which is interesting. That's an interesting factoid. It can shoot in its larval form. It can shoot a psychic, not a psychic beam, but like a energy beam from its horn, which is a benefit over the Mothra larva, which can't do that. It's never shown to shoot kind of string out of its mouth, and also, unlike Mothra, it doesn't need to cocoon itself to transform. It can just transform at will. It has sharp claws, antenna beams, similar to Mothra, very similar in flight patterns and flight speed. More vicious by nature, but by the end of the movie that it's in, it does become slightly good in the effort to take down Godzilla from destroying the world. So, I just figure, I know it's not going to be God tier, but I figure we would just mention it because it's not here, and I think it should be.
Yeah. I think I'd probably put it somewhere above Mothra, just because it's like cool, evil Mothra.
Yeah.
I might just put it like right above Mothra.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I'd be
evil
down
is
for
still
that.
a lot for me, so I would put in Kaiser.
Dang.
Really, Kaiser?
Low Kaiser, but still Kaiser.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, I could see him like next to Megaguirus.
Are you down for some more recent monsters?
Mm-hmm.
Dun dun dun. The next one.
Mutos. So the Mutos were in the Godzilla 2014. They are kind of bat-like creatures. There are two forms of them, the female and the male, the female being much larger than the male, and also being the one who lays the eggs. The males can fly, the females cannot, but the females have 4 legs, and the males have
6?
2 legs and 2 arms. Did I say 6 or 4?
You said 4 the first time.
Oh, sorry. The females have 6 legs, and the males have 2 legs and 2 kind of pincers when they fly. Their attacks are mainly physical. They don't have any explicit beams. However, they do have an EMP attack where they can essentially take out all technology within a certain radius. They are extremely stealthy in certain situations. They communicate through sonar. They can sense radiation. They consume radiation, and they can propagate extremely fast. Laying multiple hundreds of eggs at a time.
They're very susceptible to fire and explosions.
They are. They are indeed, and they are definitely indeed susceptible to atomic breath being shot down their throat.
Yes, that was cool.
Not explicitly armored, but the males are very fast with their wings. They are able to perch on things. Yeah, and I guess one fact, as explained in the Godzilla 2019 movie, that scene where they're rubbing faces together is actually them mating. So that is how they, I guess, fertilize. Yeah,
Literally bumping uglies.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it. The females and males can burrow to an extent.
Do they come from Middle Earth?
Well, that's actually interesting. The eggs in that movie they're parasitic, so the eggs are laid in the skeleton of another Godzilla.
Oh.
So there was another Godzilla if you read the extended lore of the 2014 Godzilla movies, there's a second Godzilla that was older than the one we have now, like much older, and was killed by the Mutos, and then was implanted with the 2 eggs.
So the current Godzilla is the grown-up version of Manila.
No, stop it. Don't make me go back there, Callum.
Where are we putting the Mutos?
Do you guys have any questions first?
Mm,
No, we already talked about them bumping uglies and the
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I
Godzilla
feel like
holding
we
its
we
mouth
know.
open and shooting its beam down its mouth. So I'm out of everything I have to say about these things.
Because
Yeah, I mean they are
they're
pretty recent.
yeah, I was gonna say. So like, there's not like a whole lot of lore and history to them. I feel like. So yeah, I'm down for just like putting them somewhere.
I will say I definitely was not a fan of these things to begin with because I was annoyed about the screen time Godzilla had in that movie. But now going back, I do actually like them. I
Yeah.
think they deserve to be probably in King, but
Mm,
that's kind of my take because they're good, but they're not like all powerful or they're nowhere near God level.
I can
But
see
what are
that.
your thoughts?
Who would win in a fight? That or the non-space metal multi-tool?
Probably that.
Mogira.
Okay.
I would
So
say Muchos beat Mogira any day of the week.
okay. So I would say King then.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Oh, I see.
Because
I had to look at what the next one was. I was like, what is this picture?
what the heck is
What
that?
is this picture,
But
Caleb?
before we figure that out, we're gonna save it for one more episode where we
My
bang
God.
those
Time.
three. I know, crazy. So make sure to stick around for that one. Like, subscribe, comment, blah 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 blah
You heard it the first
blah 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 blah
three
blah.
times, four
Yeah.
times. I don't know how many. What part is this?
Y'all
How
didn't
long have we
expect
been
to.
here?
Y'all didn't expect to get stuck for 4 parts with this. You should have known.
You should have
Honestly,
known.
didn't.
But it's all right. Be here next week. Until then, goodbye.